This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, of the book of Sirach, chapter 29. I'm going to start at verse 21. Point is verse 24. And it reads, "The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame." Verse 22, "Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. Be it little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house." Verse 24, "For it is a miserable thing to go from house to house, for where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth." I'm going to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Loyim La Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kudos Rakatham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying lesson. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. This is the brother Yawasop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And I came across this article, and this is Spirit because I did a lesson on it before. I titled the lesson, I believe, "The American Dream is Dead," and it was going into how it's so difficult for these people that's trying to purchase a house because of the inflation and how the markets are basically, basically the market's all messed up. It's going into how people basically was putting down payments to build houses, and now that the inflation is all crazy, basically the mortgage rates went up. So they was expecting to pay maybe 800, but now that because of the inflation, now that same house is 1,000, but their budget can't fit that 1,000. You get what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? Unless you under subsidized housing or you on a government program, Section 8 or something like that, expect your rent to increase and you to be actually set to have to deal with that. That's why I came with the scripture, principal things of life is a house, what I mean? But the Lord, right now you're about to have an unprecedented amount of people that's about to become homeless, so yeah. And that's just one form and fashion showing you that this place is dead, it's dying, it's falling. Matter of fact, let me get that in Revelations before I bring out the article. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 14. The point is verse 8. "And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." And that wine is her philosophies. This is a place built on ungodliness, but yet and still they believe that they blessed by the Most High God. That's just showing you how lost a lot of people are. For those that have the spiritual eyesight, they can see that, this place is not built on any biblical foundation. If it was, you wouldn't have the things going on today that are going on. It tells you in the scriptures to teach up a child in the way that they should go and they should never depart, roughly paraphrased, So if you put those, it go back to the foundation. If you instill certain morals and the scriptures in the child. I've met guys that grew up in the scriptures, but for whatever reason, they did some things that might have got them incarcerated, but they reverted back to the scriptures. And the thing is this: the Lord basically had you go through your walk for your walk regardless. You know what I mean? You got to understand. Look at Paul. Paul was persecuting the church to be one of the most, if not the most zealous for the truth. That's why he had more books and epistles and letters than, anybody else in the New Testament. But Salakia for digression. So, this place is falling. When you can't own a home, that's the part of the American dream. To basically buy a home, work a job, or have a business and have a family. Well, if you take away the American dream as far as the owning a house, the dream is dead. So I'm going to bring out a little bit of this article. And it reads, "Buying a home is now unaffordable for 26 million households, and things won't get better anytime soon." And it reads, "Up to 26 million households were priced out of buying a home in the past year, per new research. National Association of Realtors say the median monthly mortgage payment rose $900 in a year. So listen to what they're saying. Basically, they said the average or the medium, like when you statistically go, basically the average monthly mortgage rose $900. So if you was paying $900, they said they added another $900 to it. Rising mortgage rates combined with higher rents is locking out millions of first-time buyers. Up to 26 million households have been priced out of the U.S. housing market this year as stubbornly high prices and rising mortgage rates prove to be roadblocks for first-time buyers, new figures showed. The National Association of Realtors found the median monthly mortgage payment had risen by $900 in the past year, making home loans unaffordable for a third of buyers. That's spiritual too, because it talks about the 1/3, being actually preserved from the destruction. So you said 1/3 of people can't afford, and it made me think about it because the scriptures talk about you may be put in a position that you have to give up everything. You can't even enter the kingdom with these bodies. So let alone your possessions. You have had actual people that literally in philosophies like the ancient Egyptians, they tried to bury, their possessions with them so they can have them in the afterlife. Salakia. That's some shit Esau tried to do. This brutal market. The 30-year mortgage rate has risen to 6.3%, its highest level since 2008. After the Federal Reserve kept raising rates to tame inflation, it began the year at about 3.2% with a relatively modest 6 million households priced out by March, according to the NAR. Now, when you go into 26 million, if you do that, that's probably roughly they said 1/3, but that's probably 10% of the population. Because if America has 300,000 individuals, well, half of it is it's either 8 or 10%, close to something. It's close to 10%, I would say. It says, although there are fewer buyers in the market, demand for homes continue to outplay supply. And while inventory may have picked up, it's still not enough to make home prices to drop. And it won't be dropping anytime soon because of the fact this is all set up by design. People so silly. You got in California, basically, they're giving all so-called black people reparations of $223,000. So you got literally niggas moving to California to get that. Now, they have never gave a fuck about trying to give you niggas money, right? So what you got to ask yourself, why would they want to give it to you now? When the country in debt, the country at lightweight, a Cold War, all this shit going on. Why would they want to give it to you now? Because they basically trying to break, the system. And that's and it just show you how the Lord works, because the Lord is literally moving people where he wants them to be. So if you put in a position, Los Angeles, California is going to be one of those hot zones where you know what I'm saying? You ain't going to want to be there, It says, feeling pretty small, actual account, Rachel, actual accountant, Rachel Linehan and her partner Dan, both 23, told Insider earlier this year they've been trying to buy a home in Framingham, Massachusetts for 4 months. In that time, she said a pretty brutal market of rising rates and chirped their budget by up to $100,000, limiting the homes they could afford in their preferred area. She said it's pretty demoralizing. We went in feeling pretty hopeful, but that hope has diminished over time to the point where we are feeling pretty small. And that's the thing. You got your hope in the wrong shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you hope in the truth. You hope in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. You hope in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. You hoping in, the scriptures talk about how it's going to come to the point you might have to be as pilgrims on the earth in the book of, I believe, 2nd Ezra. So, to try to, that's why the scriptures go into those that try to save their life, they're going to lose it. And those that lose their life for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah's sake shall find it. So, The result is that we have many buyers that have been priced out of the market, and with many buyers falling out of the market, housing demand has cooled. So that's about to be people have people laid off, construction, because, they already making you aware that 2023 is going to be a heavy recession, because that's the way they're going to call themselves, trying to get the numbers down, the inflation down. Evangelou said, adding that the 9-month decline in the volume of home sales was the longest slump on record. And it reads, a house buying rebound in 2024 awaits according to the NAR, but in the meantime, a potential recession in a stubborn market might mean more pain for would-be homeowners. And the scriptures in the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 talks about evil come, and behold, only evil shall come, roughly paraphrase. When you go into the word evil, Eve meaning time, ill meaning bad. So bad times is approaching. You know what I mean? And again, you got these major financial institutions and different banks and, just all these different individuals. You got the different economics, these economists. You got these different economists and analysts basically letting you know that, 2023 is going to be, a hell of a year. Call lawyer like Yabashim Yashab. At the end of the day, that's what you need to put your faith in. Like brothers in the truth, we ain't putting our faith in, we put our faith and hope that the Yabashim Yashab will give us our daily bread. That's nothing more to hope for. The dream to be rich in a society which is set against you. It shows you that just based on the Kanye situation. The man was a billionaire one day and the next day he wasn't anymore. So was you ever a billionaire to begin with? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51. And the point is verse 7. And it reads, I'm going to start at verse 6. It reads, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushah's vengeance, and he will render unto her a recompense. When you go into the word recompense, it means it's a reward or a payment. A payment is not always good. You know what I mean? Like when you get justice. Justice is judgment for something that you did. That's a payment. That's why the scriptures talk about in the book of Revelations, Yahushua coming back and his reward is with him. And he's going to give on to the righteous a righteous reward and to the wicked a wicked reward. It says, verse 7, Babylon, which is not talking about ancient Babylon, because if you do any kind of research, you'll find out that ancient Babylon is Iraq. People really think that people are crazy or like the Bible is not real, although the Bible actually mentions people that was actually really alive. When you go into the Persians, they were actually in that region of Iran, Iraq. And they literally, if you go look within the last 50 years, they were still calling themselves Persians. So that's not talking about ancient Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar. And, this talking about modern day Babylon, which is America. Because when you go into the word Babel, it's confusion. And America is a confused ass place. This is the only place where they tell a woman she could be a man could be a woman. They coming at your children. You know what I mean? Just everything is upside down. You know what I mean? The children come from the man, but yet still they give all the power to the child, to the woman. And women think that that's empowering them, but it's really handicapping them. Because how could you raise a family in a single family household? A father can't do it, and I watch a father do it. I can't do it. You know what I mean? And, vice versa, the woman can't do it. Because they need both the male and the female. Regardless of if it's a female or a male. Now, of course, a woman can't teach a man how to be a man or a boy child to be a man, and a man can't teach a girl child to be a female. But what I'm saying is certain things that a female gets from her dad and certain things that a man gets from his mother. You know what I mean? It's Salakia. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hands. That made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. When you go back into the 30s, 40s, and 50s, when America was great, remember even Trump used that to campaign on. MAGA, make America great again. Because guess when America was great to these Edomites? When you was a nigga that couldn't look in their face, when they could literally beat you with a motherfucking a stick, a baton, that billy club, or hit your ass with a pressurized hose of water. So, America was a golden cup because literally all the nations, basically, it tells you that in the book of Revelations, all the nations wanted to basically partake in the ways of America. That's why everybody from around the world breaks their neck to get here. And then when they get here, they realize like, damn, this ain't what it, I remember when I went to Florida, like we went to Florida and you see the movies and you think you got this expectation in your mind. And the only thing that actually was like what I seen on TV was the palm trees. The only thing, everything else, I'm like, oh, this shit is lightweight busted. You know what I mean? Like, so, I'm sure just like every city has super nice places and super, it's a ghetto everywhere. The world is a ghetto, but the point is, this place is a illusion, you'll see the Hollywood walk with the walk of the stars, the boardwalk with all the stars' names, and that's supposed to be, just or for instance, like the White House. The White House is supposed to be the symbol of America, but across the street is a ghetto. And that lets you know how niggas really built the White House up for real. Well, you go into the history of it, you'll find out the White House was rebuilt and everything. But yeah, so this place was in a golden cup because the Lord used this place to get the nations drunk off of the philosophies so he could judge the planet. When you really go into, how divinely orchestrated all this is, like literally the American dollar, the petrodollar is the world reserve currency. Being that our money's inflated, literally it's nations around the world that's literally filing bankruptcy because, so when you take the time to think about how they did this shit and when our dollar fall, that's why all these countries is pushing for digital currency. Salakia though. What else? It's the book of Revelations. And because this place is proud, that's why this place is falling. The book of Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, pride go before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better is it to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And people going to see that at the end, you know what I mean? Like literally like the scriptures talk about, I think it's in the book of Ecclesiastes. I might be wrong, but it talks about it's better to be I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than I'll have to find it. Bear with me for a second. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 84, verse 10, and it reads, "For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the most. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Most High than to dwell in the Salakia. Rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Most High than to dwell in the tents of wickedness." Because, that wickedness has a reward. You know what I mean? Like how Moses basically, he'd rather serve captivity with his people than to live amongst the Egyptians. You know what I mean? And this modern day Egypt, which, is America is synonymous of a lot of ancient cities because of the fact the philosophies, like again, when you go into the word Babel, it means confusion, and this is a confusion ass place. This is the only place that you could be every religion. You can have no religion. You can worship whatever you want. But this is supposed to be the place that was founded on the Bible, though. I got one last scripture. This is Revelation chapter 18. And the point is verse 21, and it reads, "And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all." So, when you go into the book of Daniel, it talks about how the saints shall take the kingdom. All kingdoms basically either been taken over by war or violence. You know what I mean? One government is pulled down by, when you go into how America was founded, you got to remember, they supposedly came from England and broke away from, the oppressive government in England. When you don't even realize that America is a corporation that still pay homage to England. So, yeah, I mean, physically it hasn't been thrown down yet, but it's thrown down spiritually. And that's why you're seeing a decay of this place. You know what I mean? Like, you can see it if you spiritually looking, but, at the end of the day, it talks about how the end gonna come suddenly like a thief in the night. One day you're gonna look up and life is gonna be changed. You know what I mean? Believe that. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam, La Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Rachak. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teaching do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwaf, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson, I'll say shalom, shalom. Shalom.